Hi, this is Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today I'm going to show you how to make these absolutely gorgeous scarves from jelly roll strips, which are strips that are 2.5 inches wide. So you can see here we've got one from fabric and we've got these two are made from batik. Aren't they beautiful? They're quick and easy. You're going to love this project. So what you're going to need for this project are 8 jelly roll strips, and I've cut my own. Some backing, I've got polar fleece, and it's got the no pill on the wrong side and the soft fluffy on the outside. However, for my project I've used it with the no pill on the outside simply because I like the effect. Now you don't have to use polar fleece, you can also use flannel or minky, but minky does tend to stretch a little when you're sewing. So what you need to do now is cut the salvages off each end of the strips, and I've done that to all of mine. And now you find the middle, and we're going to cut that in half. So find the middle of each strip. I'm actually just where it was folded on the roll, so makes it easy. It doesn't have to be exactly accurate. Okay, now I'm, as I say, cutting mine in 2 strips. I'll end up with 16 strips, cutting them in half. But if you want a different effect, you can leave the strip whole. You can leave it long and just use it like that. Choice is yours. So now I have 2 piles of strips, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomise one. So I'm just going to leave these ones as they are, but this one here I'm just going to randomise this pile, and it's just a matter of taking your strips and just mucking them around. Just move them, doesn't matter where. Okay. So now I have 2 piles. One is as I cut it the first time, and this one is I've played around with it. I'm going to take my pile of strips here, place it on this pile. Now the only thing I want to do is make sure that my last one isn't the same as the first one in the second pile, because we don't want 2 strips running together, and that's why we sort of mix them up a bit on the second pile. So now we're going to sew the strips together, and what we do is we take our top strip and turn it upside down on our second strip. Okay, put the 2 together, and I'm going to sew along here with a 1/4 inch seam. And once I've sewn that, I'll take the second strip and pick up the third strip and just work my way through the pile, sewing each end with a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so I'm taking my first piece and I'm placing it face down on my second piece, as I said before. Put the 2 together, and I'm going to sew it with a 1/4 inch seam. So I'll do that now. Line those edges up. You don't have to take it all the way through. Now I'll get my second piece, and I'm going to pick up my third piece, place the 2 together. And that's how we go. We're just going to work our way down through the pile. So I've sewn them all together, and this is what they look like. So now I'm going to snip in between each one. You can see the threads are there, and I'm just going to snip those threads, and we'll end up with one long strip. So I'll just start snipping those. Alright, so you get the idea now. So we're starting to get our long strip. So now we have our long strip, and what I'm going to do is I've got the 2 ends here, but I'm going to take one end and I'm going to cut 9 inches off it. And the idea why I'm doing that is I want the pattern to be staggered. I don't want it to be structured. So I'm just going to come in here and cut. That's my 9, yep. Okay, so we just toss that one aside. Then I'll take my 2 ends and place them together. Okay, so I've got the 2 ends here, and I'm going to place the 2 right sides together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down the full length of the strip with a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Now I've already untangled my pile, but you'll want to untangle it so that it's sitting nice and flat. So we'll go now and start sewing these together, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so we've sewn the 2 strips together, as you can see, and what we need to do now is go to the end of the strip, and you'll see that there's a loop. Okay, I can put my finger in there and there's the loop. We're going to cut it along there. So you may need to, if you've gone right to the end, you'll just need to pick a couple of the stitches. Otherwise you can just stop before you get to the end, just to leave space for your scissors. Alright, so we're going to cut that off. And there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring that end up to here. And once again we're going to lay them together, right sides together. And now we're going to sew 1/4 inch all the way down the strip again. So I've finished sewing it now, and when you get to the end you'll have a loop. I've actually cut it already, so same as before, just cut it straight through, and then when you open it out you'll have a scarf that looks like this. So this may be a bit ragged, so just tidy it up a little bit if it is. But there we go, so on to the next step. So the next step we're going to do is to iron our scarf, and we want to iron the seams all in one direction. So just give it a little tug as you bring the iron across, so that you don't end up with that little pleat on the front. Okay. So, here we go. Iron those little seams flat. And we're going to do that all the way down the scarf. So now it's time to cut the backing for our scarf. Now our scarf measured 80 by 8. Yours may be different depending on the size of the strips that you use, and also the seams that you sew your scarf up with. So what we're going to do now is cut the backing, and we've cut 2 pieces across the width of the fabric. You may want to cut down the fabric, in which case you won't have to join it. But as I have 2 strips to make the length of my scarf, I'm going to go and sew those together now, and then we'll come back and show you what to do next. So now it's time to put the scarf together. So what I've got here is I've got my backing, which I've got right side up, and I'm going to lay my scarf right side down over the backing and just match that up there. Now I'm going to sew this all the way around the scarf with a 1/4 inch seam, right? But what I'm going to do is leave an opening to turn the scarf through. So about 6 to 8 inches, because we're going to top stitch, so that'll get folded in and neatened off anyway. So don't forget, we're going right down, across the bottom, right down the other side, and we're going to go across the bottom at the other end. So we'll do that now. Right, so I've sewn all around the edges, and I've left an opening here, as you can see, to turn the scarf through. I'm just going to clip my corners. So across the corner, making sure you don't clip your stitching, and just cut some of that bulk off as well. Okay, like that. Okay, so I'll do all 4 corners. Just cutting them like that, just to take some of that bulk off. Right, so find the opening, and we're going to turn it all through. And might be an idea to pop your arm right down to the end and grab a corner down there. Okay, so I'll go and straighten that all up and push all my ends through using my trusty apple corer. Okay, so now I have pressed or ironed all around my scarf, and you can see here that I've turned in the edges and press them down so that they're nice and flat. And what I'm going to do now is top stitch around the whole scarf with about 1/8 inch in from the edge. So I'll go and do that now, and then I'll come back and show you the result. Okay, so I have finished top stitching around the scarf, and as you can see it looks absolutely gorgeous. Just imagine how many of these you could make in a very short time. So if you liked this video and found it useful, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel.